Marshall, send out the CMP. CMP, Canadian Military Pattern. Canada produced, and remember, we're talking about between 1939 and 1945, in that span of less than 6 years, when our population was much smaller than it is today. Canada produced over 800,000 implements of war for our allies. It wasn't just for Canadians. And what we see here is one of those examples. This is a Canadian military pattern truck. It's an HUW, or Heavy Utility Wireless. Trucks like this, you can see in the front, there's a Chevy bow tie, it's a badge. This vehicle here was produced during the war at the Oshawa assembly plant, right here in this city. And these vehicles that were produced by General Motors, by Chrysler, by Ford, both in the United States and Canada, but these special Canadian vehicles served with almost all of the Commonwealth and Allied armies during the war. They were known to be reliable, and it was a massive contribution that we were able to make to the effort in materiel. So what's really surprising about this heavy utility wireless is, if you look at it right now, it looks like it's brand new. It just came off the factory floor of the Oshawa plant. That's because this vehicle came out of the restoration shop yesterday. Okay? When you get to see this at the end of the show, when you go over to the tank harbor and see the vehicles and meet the crews, it looks absolutely brand new, everything on it. Here you can see one of the restorers of this vehicle who worked on this for over 6 years. He's actually crew commanding it. We have one retired of the Ontario Regiment, Mr. Rick Spratley up there. Say hi, Rick. And driving the vehicle, one of our restoration specialists, I think this is his 4th or 5th restoration. We have Bill Gunter as the driver. And before I get more into the military history of this vehicle means a lot to us. And during its restorations, we've actually lost some members who were working on this, this was their life, this was their hobby. They would come out here many days of the week. So past museum president, David Mountney of the Ontario Regiment, Mr. David Hardy of the Ontario Regiment, and also Mr. Larry Goucher of the Royal Canadian Artillery. They never lived to see the finished product, but this is a memorial to those members and their dedication to keeping history alive.
We are at the point where
thousands and thousands of hours of meticulous restoration, not just to make it run, but to make it correct. So a heavy utility wireless, what is that? It's a communications vehicle. Now, we all have cell phones. Communication is easy today, but armies needed to communicate in the field. So just as important as a tank is, if nobody knows where that tank is and can communicate with it and communicate with headquarters to get ammunition, fuel, reinforcements, etc., up to the front, then it's a lost cause. So it's actually a very important vehicle in doing so. Now look at the camo, once again, fresh like it's out of the factory. This strange pattern was used by Canadians in the Italian theater. I know we're talking about victory, but it was a very long, hard-fought war, and many people forget the Italian theater, and most Canadians got their battle experience, and many of our casualties came from the Italian campaign in the Second World War. So we wanted to make a tribute to those Canadians who fought in Italy and didn't make it up to 1945. The flag that we're flying today was actually loaned to the museum for this special occasion. That is the flag celebrating the liberation of the Netherlands, which just happened a few days before VE Day. And as you know, the Kingdom of the Netherlands is very close to Canada to this day. If you've been watching the news, you can see the commemorations, the celebrations of their freedom and thanking Canadians, not just veterans, but thanking this country for that contribution to their liberation. The vehicle is done up not as the Ontario Regiment. This is the Canadian Tank Museum. We try to represent all Canadian regiments. It's done up as the Trois-Rivières or Three Rivers Regiment. You can see those tactical markings on there. In the back, you would have a number 19 wireless set. So that's the iPhone of 1943. So it also has maps and command and control in the back of the vehicle. So very important vehicle and just a great example of the kind of technology and the kind of things that we were providing our allies. Of all those vehicles that Canada made, only 23% were actually used by the Canadian Armed Forces. Canada was the arsenal of the Commonwealth. You've heard FDR say that the United States was the arsenal of democracy once they joined the war. But all of Britain, Australia, South Africa, India, New Zealand, and all of our other allies were relying on vehicles like this for their armed forces. So again, let's hear it for the Huff crew and the restoration. An amazing, dedicated to those members who came before, dedicated to those Canadian Armed Forces members who would have served in this vehicle and served this country. And this show is very special to us, obviously, VE Day 80th anniversary, but to be able to present this to the public for the very first time, and sorry guys, get mud all over your tires, right? All right, let's roll out. All of these moving vehicles cost a lot of money to maintain. Volunteers keep them running, but it's through contributions and donations of our community and the larger world community that keeps this large collection of military vehicles alive. You can support us by liking our social media feeds or by going to tankmuseum.ca and making a one-time or subscription contribution. Those contributions go directly to maintaining one of the world's largest fleets of operational historical military vehicles.